You know that moment, you finally make the appointment, you sit on a paper covered table, and you say out loud the brain fog, the exhaustion, the weight that won't budge, the mood swings that feel unlike you. And then you get one of two replies either, this is just menopause, totally normal, or your labs are fine, could it be stress? And you leave thinking, wait, so am I just supposed to live like this? Today, we're not doing that. We're going to widen the lens and make sure you have the full picture of what could be driving these symptoms, what's worth ruling out, and what you can say in your next appointment so you're taken seriously and you get real data to work with. I'm Kristen Beasley, and this is the Healthy Life Approach. And let's talk about the problem with the phrase, it's just menopause. Because here's the thing, it is partially true. Hormonal shifts can absolutely affect your brain, energy, sleep, weight, and mood. But the phrase, it's just menopause, often ends the conversation at the exact moment it should begin. If it's hormones, which ones? Are we talking estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, all three? How far have they moved? And just as important, what else can look like menopause on the surface? These midlife symptoms are like a busy intersection. Brain fog, fatigue, weight gain, sleep problems, mood changes, feeling flat or overwhelmed, and even feeling like your personality has changed. Those can come from multiple systems in the body. If you only blame one thing without checking the others, you're not diagnosing, you're guessing. So let's turn guessing into a checklist. I want you to imagine you're putting clues on a table, same symptoms, different causes. And when you rule things out, you don't just get peace of mind. You get options that actually help you feel better. Here are the most common conditions that can mimic or stack on top of perimenopausal or menopausal symptoms. And yes, each one is both testable and treatable. Here's what a functional medicine workup might include. Try to bring this list to your next appointment. First, thyroid dysfunction, especially hypothyroidism. This one is a classic shapeshifter. It can look like menopause because it can cause fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, mood changes, and sometimes hair changes. It becomes more common in midlife, and it's also commonly missed. And a quick note here, a single TSH result doesn't always tell the whole story. If you're trying to truly evaluate thyroid function, you typically want to discuss with your doctor getting a fuller view, including free T3, free T4, and thyroid antibodies. Second, insulin resistance. If you followed the weight gain conversations, you know this can start years before blood sugar looks abnormal. Fasting insulin can creep up quietly, and along with it can come that midsection weight gain, energy crashes, brain fog, and more inflammatory internal environment. The tricky part is that many routine lab panels do not include fasting insulin. So if nobody ordered it, you can be told everything looks fine, while one of the biggest drivers of how you feel wasn't even checked. Ask your doctor to consider running a fasting insulin test. Third, iron deficiency, especially low ferritin. Ferritin is your iron storage. If ferritin is low, you can feel wiped out, fuzzy-headed, unmotivated, and emotionally off. Concentration can suffer, and women who've had heavy perimenopausal bleeding are particularly vulnerable. This is an important detail. Your hemoglobin can look normal while ferritin is low. So if hemoglobin was checked, iron issues can slip right through the cracks. Fourth, vitamin D insufficiency. Vitamin D is tied with mood, cognitive function, immune health, and metabolic function. And depending on the lab, you can be told your vitamin D is normal, even when it's not optimal for how you want to feel. Many functional medicine practitioners aim for 50 to 80 Ng over ml, though conventional labs may flag lower levels as normal. Discuss the optimal range for your situation with your healthcare provider. That difference can matter, especially if fatigue and low mood are part of your picture. Fifth are sleep disorders, including obstructive sleep apnea. This one surprises a lot of women because many of us still picture sleep apnea as a man's issue, or we think it only shows up with loud snoring and obvious symptoms. But sleep apnea risk rises in menopause. Hormonal changes, including the loss of progesterone support for airway muscle tone, combined with shifts in body composition, can alter breathing during sleep. And when sleep quality drops, everything follows: fatigue, brain fog, irritability, low mood, and higher cardiovascular risk. And because women don't always present with classic textbook signs, it can be dramatically underdiagnosed. If you are concerned, ask your doctor about ordering a sleep study. 6, ADHD. I know that one might sound like it doesn't belong on the list, but stay with me. For some women, the hormonal transition doesn't create ADHD out of thin air, but it can expose patterns that were always there and previously compensated for. If you're struggling with organization, follow through, time management, losing track of tasks, feeling emotionally reactive, and you can look back and see hints of those patterns long before perimenopause, it might be worth a real evaluation rather than chalking up everything to hormones. Seventh, depression and anxiety. These can absolutely be influenced by hormonal shifts, and they can also exist alongside hormones as their own separate issue. For example, progesterone changes can affect calming pathways in the brain, which can make anxiety or sleep issues feel louder. But that doesn't automatically mean that every mood change is purely hormonal. Sometimes it's both, sometimes it's something else. The point is that it's worth assessing with your healthcare practitioner rather than dismissing it. So that's 7: thyroid, insulin resistance, iron stores, vitamin D, sleep disorders, ADHD, and depression or anxiety. If you take nothing else from this episode, take this. It's just menopause is not a complete answer if the rest of the workup has not been done. And if any one of these is contributing, you deserve to know because you can actually do something about it. Now, let's talk strategy because information is great, but the real question is, what do you say when you're sitting in that appointment and you don't want to be brushed off? Here's a script you can use. Say it in your own voice, but keep the structure. Calm, clear, focused on function, and focused on ruling things out. I've been experiencing significant changes in my thinking, energy, and mood, and it's affecting my daily life. Before we attribute this entirely to menopause, I'd like to rule out most common overlapping conditions. Could we run a full thyroid panel, including free T3 and thyroid antibodies, as well as fasting insulin, A1C, HSCRP, ferritin, vitamin D, estradiol, progesterone, and testosterone? And could we also discuss whether a sleep study or a cognitive assessment might be appropriate for my symptoms? That's it. Notice what you're not doing. You are not trying to diagnose yourself. You are not demanding one specific treatment. You are asking for a thorough evaluation because your symptoms are real and they're impacting your life. A strong provider will respect that. And if you meet resistance, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you may need a different path to answers. That could look like getting a second opinion. It could mean finding a clinician with functional or integrative training. It could mean using a direct-to-consumer lab service like Function Health, if that's accessible to you. You are allowed to keep going when the first door doesn't open. Let's zoom out for a second because this isn't only about lab tests. This whole series has been about trading fear for clarity. We started by putting context around cognitive changes in midlife so you weren't left catastrophizing. Then we built a framework for understanding what brain fog is and what it is not, so you could describe your experience in a way that leads to better care. And today we're replacing that dead-end phrase, it's just menopause, with a wider differential and a plan. Because vague reassurance doesn't help you function. Data helps you function. A provider who listens helps you function. And knowing that many of these drivers are identifiable and addressable is, for most women, a genuine relief. So here's the key takeaway I want to land with. It's just menopause is not a diagnosis. It's a conversation stopper. And you deserve a conversation that keeps going until you have actual answers. Build your base, know your numbers, own your outcomes. That's not just a catchy framework. It's something you're entitled to when it comes to your health. Before we close, choose one action from today and do it this week. Book the appointment. Copy the lab list into your notes app. Ask about a sleep study. Whatever your next step is, make it real and put it on the calendar. And if this series shifted the way you think about your brain, your body, or how you advocate for yourself in medical setting, please share it with one woman in your life who's been quietly struggling and getting brushed off. Not because it helps me, but because she deserves a better starting point than just relax. You can find the series and everything we've covered at Healthy Life Approach on YouTube. I'm Kristen Beasley. Thank you for being here and take good care of your beautiful brain. Quick disclaimer, I am a health coach, not a licensed medical professional. This podcast is for education and informational purposes and is not medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please talk with your physician or a qualified provider about your personal situation and always vet health information carefully before making changes. This podcast and the show notes may include affiliate links. If you purchase through those links, I may earn a commission at no extra cost to you, which helps to support the show. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases.